All right, welcome. I think we're up and running. I get annoyed when streamers say that, actually. Despite knowing myself that it's completely understandable. Even in 2023, streaming like technology and processes have not, there's still no guarantees, you know? Sorry for the abrupt edit there. OBS is being more ornery than usual, and it's already pretty ornery. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm still, I swear to goodness that the iPad capture is working literally 3 minutes ago. And it will work again, but it's going to take a little bit of doing and maybe some unplugging and plugging back in. So we'll get there, but it's okay. We can do our usual thing of chatting ahead of time here, talking about some of the news and whatnot. Welcome back. Thanks for being here once again. So nice to see you. But Whatness is getting us started already with we can definitely consider this animation news. That yes, indeed, the Scott Pilgrim anime is finally almost here. Is finally nearing release date. Been quite a while coming. I don't think I even remember when it was initially announced. If you do, Whatness, go ahead and let me know when that actually happened. But it was more the gap than anything else, right? Just the gap between initial announcement and then any sort of follow-up or substantial looks at what this thing is actually going to be. But yeah, 2 days from now we won't have to guess anymore. We will all know at the exact same time. Also one of those things where I know, obviously plenty of shows and streaming movies end up releasing midnight Thursday, I guess, technically, depending on the service and the region, whatever. But even when I'm working, I am a little bit tempted to just be like, well, I would maybe just put this on. Maybe I should just put this on and distract myself for several hours before getting into the meat of things. But yeah, that's kind of what happened with the One Piece live action, I think, too, where it was like, okay, well, I will do my adult responsibility stuff, but also I kind of just want to watch this show now and get a feel for it. It's exciting. It's exciting release day viewing, you know? Okay, so I'll continue to chat amicably while also trying to get the iPad stuff worked out here, which will hopefully come along. But in the meantime, what have you been up to, Whatness? Otherwise, how have you been? Been a pretty good week so far? Have you been having a nice autumn season? I've been very excited over here today. Well, not generally, but I've been excited about the weather over here today in California because we got a bunch of rain. I shouldn't say out of nowhere because I'm pretty sure it was forecasted, but still, it feels like it's out of nowhere when you haven't had rain for months and months and months. But I love it. I love the overcast weather more than I ever did when I was growing up. I really enjoy getting the nice rainy days, especially when I'm already working at home, right? Like it's I'm not the first person to say it, but when you have a nice sunny day and beautiful blue skies and no clouds, there is a feeling of obligation, I guess. You kind of get the sense like, oh, I should be out there enjoying it, but I can't because I have a job and responsibilities. But with a rainy day, it's like, no. Being in your comfortable indoor space, it's like the exact best place to be. It's the coziest and best place from which you can enjoy a rainy day. So, I've loved it. I've been loving that here today. I hope we will continue to get rained for the rest of time. Witness says, I remember me talking about it here for months. I do too, not in a bad way, obviously. For me talking about the first leaks and announcement, then to talking about the cast returning, and the teaser and the trailer, and now the OP released. Yeah, it has been a long time. But no, I honestly have really really high hopes. And I don't mean that in terms of, crazy high expectations. I don't want to come at it from that angle. But yeah, I mean, of course, it was such a. I'm sure I've talked about this before here too. But my gosh, was the live action movie just an enormous deal as a youngster, for me. It was a couple years after release that it actually started making the rounds and people were more aware of it. But once it hit, it really hit, and all of a sudden everybody else seemed to be watching it, or people with similar interests, So that was very exciting. So, and I continue to have incredibly fond memories of the movie, even though I think a lot of people have. I don't know. I think they've softened on it a bit in relation to the rest of Edgar Wright's filmography, I guess. I don't like this music. That's much better. Button says, not animation, but the Game Awards voting is open, even though the fan vote only makes up 10%. And Rockstar said GTA 6 early December. Game Awards is the 7th. Am I just coping, or am I onto something? No, I have heard that the trailer, right, the announcement trailer. So technically we've had the announcement via the tweet, right? I think it was the tweet. So we can expect the announcement trailer in early December, as you said. And yes, I have heard some other folks just kind of assuming that it will be at the Game Awards, because the Game Awards is so famous for being like a venue through which to advertise more games that haven't come out yet. And funny thing there, actually, Wetness, do you want to come over here? Do you want to sit on the iPad or something? You know how expensive it is, right? Would you like to? Would you? Yeah, funny thing about the Game Awards. So I've never paid too much attention. Obviously, if there's a big announcement or something, I'll kind of look into it, but I don't tend to watch live. However, just a couple days ago, I was talking to a friend who was okay, yeah. A couple days ago, I was talking to a friend who, long story short, is like, hey, I'm going to the Game Awards. After finding out, that the Game Awards existed and that they're here in LA, the friend was like, well, I guess I'm going now because someone else said, oh, I'll buy tickets and we have to go. So now a friend of mine's going to the Game Awards now. So we'll see how that, I don't know. I don't know if I would. I'm not big into crowds. And sometimes live events like those, when you actually go to it in person, is not quite as fun as it seems on TV. The Oscars is the same way, I think. Anyway, just kind of a weird, funny coincidence. I haven't known anybody in the past who was super into to go into those events live, but I will be very interested to hear what that experience is like for my friend. But yeah, that was one of the first things I mentioned to them, actually, was just like, hey, just so you know, that might be where this supposedly historic GTA 6 reveal comes about. We'll see. We all have to wait and see for that one. But yeah, first week of December, it seems likely. That's the weird thing is, if Rockstar decides to drop, didn't use that word. If Rockstar decides to actually release that trailer, any time before the Game Awards, that first week of December, that would be like a shot, right? That would be a shot across the bow. I think that it would feel like a weird attempt to upstage the Game Awards. Not that I have any, particular respect, I guess, for what the Game Awards is, but regardless, it would be a very specific choice. So some potential for drama there, definitely. But yeah. See how it goes. I really hope I can get this. Meanwhile, I've been trying to get the iPad thing working. And OBS is like, do you want to restart? OBS is like, well, no, I'm streaming at the moment. I would prefer to... I would prefer for this to just work. It's okay. We'll try everything we can. How about this? Is it hiding somewhere on the screen that I just can't see? That would stink. But it says next week, the Luffy balloon at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. Wonder if they'll mispronounce his name. Like how they're saying was they did saying instead of Saiyan for Goku's balloon. Okay, that's pretty funny. I mean, I get the concern, right? Like that is a thing. And just something about the vibe of those newscasters, even calling them newscasters is a bit much. But based on that vibe, I could see why there's a concern that they would mispronounce stuff. At the same time, especially in this day and age, I think they have, for one thing, probably rehearsals of some kind, but also very explicit scripts or teleprompter stuff that says, hey, here's like a phonetic spelling of this name. I'm hoping that would be the case for something so high profile, you know? But then again, because it is something that's from outside the U.S., maybe there's always potential for miscommunication. What? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What if I flip to different scenes? No? Still no? Okay. The Game Awards host liked a tweet about someone saying how it lines up. I know it doesn't mean anything necessarily, but yeah, no, that doesn't mean anything necessarily. But at the same time, Keeley understands, right? He understands the influence and impact of that kind of stuff. So I do think there's a fair chance that it's lined up for the Game Awards, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. Okay, well, I'll get back to troubleshooting the iPad stuff in a minute. We will get it worked. Even if I have to just point the camera at the iPad, we're going to do that stuff. Don't worry about it. But I also want to get through just some of the... There's not a ton of crazy news in animation right now, but I would like to hit on just a couple points here over on the good old Cartoon Brew website. After changing the music yet again, I feel like we need something much less crazy. How about good old Animal Crossing and rain sounds? Can we do one of those mixes? Oh, this was the one where every single track has like bells on it. There they are. This one too. That one also. Okay, let's all just tolerate this for a little while. Oh, we can chat. Okay, so I will quickly summarize this situation here. What you're seeing on the screen is there is a Warner Brothers movie called Coyote versus Acme. I don't think this is a screenshot from it, as far as I know. I think this is from the original shorts. But it's been a big deal recently, specifically because in modern Warner fashion, they had the movie completely finished. At the very least, production on this was finished, based on what I've heard. And they decided, as they did with, what was it? One of the Batgirl projects and the other Scooby-Doo, what was that? A Scooby-Doo Halloween thing a year ago, where they just said, hey, we're not going to release it because then we can claim that it's a tax write-off, basically. So we would rather do that. We think our company would benefit more by that, as opposed to actually releasing it and trying to get revenue from putting it on a streaming service or doing any kind of theatrical release. So they have initially decided to do the exact same thing with this project called Coyote versus Acme. You can kind of guess where that title comes from if you're at all familiar with those old cartoons. Um, but yes, as we see here, and well, maybe there's a different article we should pull up for this, but they have backtracked, I guess. Uh, they've backtracked, and not in the sense where they are planning to release this through their own, official channels, but instead they are saying, "Oh, you can try to get another distributor to not foot the entire bill for this, but specifically to help pay for distribution." That's what distributors do, obviously. So it's up in the air. I mean, obviously, I don't know what kind of price tag they would attach to this or what kind of bidding would be involved to become the official distributor for this movie, but that would be a good get, right? At the very least, if you're bidding for like the streaming rights of this movie, nice. Theatrical releases, the distribution is more expensive and it can vary in different regions and stuff. That can be more complicated. But in terms of streaming distribution, that it seems like a home run. And of course, we don't have a lot of info on the quality. We have a sort of editorial here, giving their own opinion of, hey, it's actually really good. So we just have a guess that it's actually a good movie and that people would respond positively to it. But exciting. It's exciting that they're at least being more hands-off. They're not being supportive of the movie, Warner, I mean. They're not being outwardly supportive, but they're also not doing the horrible thing of just saying no one gets to have this. Like, everybody worked on this, we spent a bunch of money on it, and no one can ever see it. So pretty good news, and that is definitely one of the hot topics recently in the world of animation, is this particular flick. And hey, if it's finished, like, I wouldn't think that the turnaround time between it getting a distributor and actually being released somewhere would be long at all. So it could be by the end of the year. It could be within a couple more months that we actually have access to this one. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm not the biggest Chuck Jones guy, to be honest. I have a lot of respect for Chuck Jones and a lot of his classic cartoons. But they were never at the top of my list as a kid, and they're still not quite at the top of my list as an adult. But I would still be very interested to see a modern take. And who knows if it specifically tries to go after like meta elements or lore stuff of like, we're gonna find out what Acme actually is and what they're into, or what they're up to rather. That would be fun. There are plenty of fun things that could happen with a movie like that. We'll see how it goes. Wetness says anxiety from the Inside Out 2 trailer looks like Gregley from the Wimpy Kid book. Sorry, I don't know the name because I'm not familiar with those books, so I can't. I don't know the pronunciation there. But yes, and here we go. If you want to look, I don't know if anyone would consider this a spoiler. If you do, apologies. But here we are. We did get an initial, I guess, basically just a teaser trailer, right? For Inside Out 2. Obviously, I can't show it here on the stream. Unfortunately, they would yell at me and try to make money from this stream. I mean, joke's on them, but still. So it was already announced that we're going to be getting a whole new slew of emotions for this movie. Makes perfect sense. Child development, into adolescence. There are more emotions you have access to in a simplified sense. So yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to it. I do like the first Inside Out movie quite a bit. It's been a while. They're not speaking directly to me, and that's fine. But I did briefly roll my eyes, I think, when Anxiety introduced themselves. I don't think we have to gender Anxiety here. An interesting, like, 70s sort of palette and outfit here. I was not paying attention to that in the trailer, but I don't know, I guess troll doll in a sense, or just like a cheap knockoff toy in general, I think of, with that kind of hair. that's made of like really cheap, you know, some plastic material. You get it at the fair, or it's in one of those capsule machines that has non-branded prizes. That's kind of what the design reminds me of. So I did briefly roll my eyes for the inclusion of anxiety, but at the same time, like it makes perfect sense, and it's almost too obvious in a way. Oh look, we do get this sort of spoils some more stuff. I mean, we don't know their names, do we? But we can guess. That would be kind of fun. Whatness also says, so the death metal band Cannibal Corpse made an adult coloring book, and it's already banned in Germany. Well, Germany seems pretty, what's the word? Strict. They do seem a little bit strict, I think, when it comes to, I don't know if we call it cultural sensitivity stuff. I don't know if we call it just maybe not censorship exactly, but I have seen that in the past, where they have a very light. They're very trigger happy when it comes to banning stuff that could be considered, really offensive or something like that. I don't really have a take on it. I don't know. I haven't, seen the coloring book. Adult coloring books in general have been a thing for a good while now, and like I don't know. I think it's kind of a fun little subgenre of, what do we even say, visual art, I guess, at this point, or just like illustration. I don't know if I remember Fear. It is Fear, right? Bill Hader's character. I don't know if I remember Fear having this like lightning bolt hair situation. I honestly don't. Maybe that's a new edition or something like that. Maybe they're sort of upgrading the original emotions. That would be fun. Huh? I also just immediately want like a character chart. Not an alignment chart necessarily, but just like show me the connections that each character is going to have with every other, character from the new batch. I think that would be, there are lots of opportunities there. I am sure they will make very good use of this new expanded cast. But yeah, fun stuff. Okay. I'll continue to chat and talk about things here. But I'll drop the cam for just a little bit, because I do need to do some kind of hardcore troubleshooting with the capture card, which is a shame. I wish they just worked. But that is not where we're at. Stuff. Witness says, did you hear about Dragon Ball Daima? Sorry, the emojis in the chat block some of the messages, which seems counterintuitive. Dragon Ball Daima, aka Baby Looney Tunes, but with aliens, robots, and some humans. No, I haven't. If you have no, I don't even know if YouTube lets you send links like that. So I'll just quickly look it up. I just want to see like an image for this. What do we got? Oh, it's been out for a while. Yeah, Baby Looney. I would also say like Muppet Babies is a good example of that. Is it meant for a younger audience? Or is it just kind of a gimmick and they are trying to still capture that the main hardcore audience? Because this is a broader topic. I don't know exactly what people call it. Maybe just like preschooling certain franchises. It's happened quite a bit, not just in terms of animation, but also certain book series and things like that, where they take something that was originally for either a teen audience or an older audience and morph it to be much better suited to far younger audiences. I guess Teen Titans Go is a really, really obvious example. There's apparently a Craig of the Creek spin-off show about, is it Jessica is his sister? I have to check. So it's definitely a thing, and I do think it's an interesting topic, especially in terms of how fans of the original like product or series feel about those changes. That'd be interesting to see. Sorry, this is where here. We can take a look here. Some of the character designs and such. Witness says, I think it's still Dragon Ball's core audience. Super is a family show in Japan, but in the West it's still considered for older people, I guess. Sort of like how The Simpsons is mature, but for the whole family. Okay, that's an interesting point of comparison. Especially because just for me personally, growing up, Simpsons was, I think, seen as like strictly adult, both for myself and for my family and other kids at school and stuff like that. And it's really not. It was years later when I actually watched the show almost in its entirety. And it's really not. It is actually quite wholesome, especially compared to some of the I don't know if we would call it the competition exactly, but compared to, you know, other adult animation series, right? Okay. Oh. 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 Ho ho. Okay. So here was my mistake last time is I changed the resolution to fit the iPad resolution. I think I'm just not going to do that. I think we're just going to deal with the borders here, but I'm going to keep this up for as long as I can in this form, and hopefully we can continue on. Okay. All right. Thanks for bearing with me. I feel much better about this now, and we can proceed. Where's my face cam? There it is. Cool. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. All right. Yeah, but cool. Thanks for letting me know. I have never followed you know, DBZ stuff extensively. I saw some of it growing up, but I didn't really delve in. So I can't say that I've watched everything and I'm caught up or anything like that. But still, neat to hear. Maybe I'll check it out if it's coming to a service that I actually have. That would be neat. Okay. Any other big news here? Oh, yes, actually. uh, so iPad, you go over here just for a minute, but don't go away. And iPad, don't go to sleep. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. You stay right there. Okay. We did get the first trailer for the Garfield movie, and I think it was maybe like a week between me hearing about the Garfield movie's existence and the release of this trailer. And I have watched the trailer, and I'm really struggling to think of anything to say that would actually be useful or insightful or anything like that. I did have a certain reaction to the trailer. I have a certain feeling about just the overall look of everything in the movie, and the direction. And I kid you not, when there's a moment, it takes a long time. It's kind of a weird trailer in its structure. It feels like it's trying to do a big misdirection. It's like, oh, it's going to be this kind of movie. No, no, no. It is exactly as generic as anything else. So it's a very strange switch in terms of tone. So it takes a while But yeah, about halfway through is when it cuts to, oh, here's what the movie's actually going to be like. When I heard Chris Pratt's voice come out of Garfield, I did, not for very long, but I did honestly think it was some sort of trolling situation. Like, I thought it was, just some fan as a joke cut this together and dubbed it with maybe an AI Chris Pratt voice or something like that. And then it sets in, that no, this is their casting choice. And by the way, here are some of their other casting choices. I can't. There you go. Sam Jackson, for some reason, and other people who I don't think I know. Ving Rhames. I don't know if I know any of these other names. I honestly did think it was a joke. I thought it was not real, and yeah. And another point of this one, I believe it's the official trailer, but there's a QR code that pops up on the screen. I'd have to check if that was just what this other channel put on it or if that's the official thing. But yeah, there's this part of it where they're like, hey, submit pet videos. And we'll use them, actually, even the way they show it. If I could just show the still image. I can show still images, right? We haven't gone that far down the rabbit hole. So yeah, so it takes a long time of really cute Garfield, and then it switches to, here is the Garfield you know and love. And you've been waiting to see him back in action yet again. Okay, this is... No, just give me... This is so funny to me. Like, submit your pet videos to be part of the Garfield movie campaign. To be part of the advertising for the Garfield movie. This is it. Yes, this is on the official upload. Is this really ugly QR code that just shows up on the trailer for way too long. Again, I have a feeling of how other people are responding to this movie so far, this trailer, what it represents. I don't want to, I don't want to just say the same old predictable things. Whatever, not very useful. But in particular, I don't know. Okay. How about this? If I'm trying to say like some very nice things, or no, if I'm trying to say nice things about this trailer and how the movie is, shaping up here, I do appreciate that in particular, I guess Sony Pictures, this is a Sony Pictures movie. We have reached the point where even like, not bottom of the barrel, but even like very generic Hollywood animated movies get to have art direction now. That was not a thing for the longest time. And even as recently as, remember the Scooby-Doo CG movie, the one that actually released whenever that was, 2016, a few years back. Even that one, I would say, is the tail end of the era where these generic movies had the main characters get to have neat designs and there's creativity there, but all your NPCs, all the background characters, all the background assets look incredibly generic and kind of ugly. That was the norm for the longest time. Anything that wasn't coming from Pixar or Disney looked that way. We have surpassed that. I do not think that the Garfield movie is going to be a good movie. How it turns out is, we can talk about that at the time that it's appropriate. But in the meantime, I don't think it's going to be good. And yet, it still has kind of interesting art direction. Like, at the very least, it is not as bland as it could be, visually speaking. And as I've talked about somewhat recently in terms of the troll stuff, which is, I think, a very good example of, punching bag generic Hollywood animated movies, even for the stuff that people don't see as high art and that don't especially respect as animated movies, they're still high horsepower. Like, they are still using, you know, top of the line rendering techniques, technologies, lighting, etc., etc. It still looks good, even if you don't really care about the stories or the characters or the property or whatever else. You know. Anyway, Wetness says Arby's is selling a Good Burger 2 meal for the movie. For the next Good Burger movie? Or for the Garfield movie? Out of all the places they picked Arby's. They did. Yeah, they did. I mean, McDonald's said no, obviously. You know, what, McDonald's? They're too high profile for that kind of thing. Really briefly, let's take some pot shots. Like, not pot shots. Let's do some quick random guesses as to who the other emotions are here. Do we call this wonder? I could see wonder being an emotion. Obviously, it's trying to look very cutesy, but we can't. Cute is not an emotion, right? This is sort of what? Emo adjacent bowl cut. Are they also trying to do a thing in terms of the vertical alignment here? Like this is you're most closely aligned with sadness, most closely aligned with fear, something like that. But this seems like just a feeling of dejection, I guess. Cynicism could be considered an emotion. Pink guy is large. Look, whoa, his hand's all the way over here. His Muppet hand. I have no idea. And I'm not getting a lot out of just his eyes. Anxiety works with just the eyes and the eyebrows. You get that. Okay. So yeah, blue person up in the air. Pink guy, I have no idea. This person, I feel like I have at least a general sensation of what they're going for already, even if we don't have the names. Anyway, I just wanted to look at that very quickly. Cool. And that was the other thing I was going to mention with Garfield, I guess. In light of your comment, Wetness, where do you think they'll go for their tie-ins, their product tie-ins? Obviously, they're looking for help. They're looking for, you know, unpaid help with their marketing campaign. Please just send them footage. Just send them cute and funny pet footage that they can use free of charge. So there's that. But, like, who do you... I guess pizza, right? You would probably go to a pizza chain for the Garfield movie tie-in? I would have to assume. There's not a lot you can do with lasagna brands, I feel like. But pizza works. Also, here it is in the still image. That's a good clue. That was my brilliant deduction, is that they will probably try a pizza tie-in. But other than that, I don't know. Standard merch, right? There will certainly be a plushie of cute, tiny Garfield. Maybe a talking version of adult Garfield, right? I doubt... Maybe it's like a more of a collector's thing, but I kind of doubt any kind of tie-ins in terms of re-releases of the comics, even though that would technically make the most sense. I don't think, you know, I don't think the comics are most people's point of contact with Garfield anymore. I just don't think that's how it works out. I liked the comics. I'm not ashamed of that exactly. I liked them. I read the comics strips and the collections and stuff. And did move on eventually, but like that's where I got to know Garfield and his very deep personality. Weird inclusion. It's going to be very referencey. You know it's that kind of Hollywood animated movie. And yes, Mark Dindal, I think we mentioned that last week. Mark Dindal is directing Emperor's New Groove, directing credit, and also Chicken Little. He's been around. Odie, that is his name, right? Kind of weird. The heavy fur texturing on his ears, like I get that it makes sense, but for some reason seeing it all around the front and the back of the ears is off-putting to me. And you can see in some of the renders, where was it? There's a certain shot you can tell that, he also has a nice fur texture overall, but it's not as pronounced as it is on the ears. Right. It looks flatter from a distance. I don't know. I don't quite like that. Sure about that. Okay. Witness says, I slowed down the Inside Out 2 trailer at the end. It said, feel, insert, all new ones I found were envious, ennui, and embarrassment. Oh, okay. Then there they are. I hope no one is worried about that kind of spoiler, but okay. Envious. Ennui. I hit it on the head, I think, there. Embarrassment. Funny. Appropriate. Yeah. I trust it. I trust it just fine. I'm sure it's going to be A-okay. I don't know what else to say about that one. Okay. Shall we try to brass tacks here? How can we do this? Yeah, sorry about the borders. I think we're just gonna have to deal with that. Here we are. Can I do window capture for the chat just in case? Yeah. Where is it? There it is. There we go. I'm just gonna tuck that over here so it's not weird empty space. Okay, so for as long as I can stand, I am just going to mess around in this sculpting program on the iPad that I got recently, which is a big deal, but and I got it for other reasons, but I do really enjoy this 3D sculpting stuff just for fun. Watched a handful of tutorials and got right into it. And I think that's sort of the best that it gets is when it just feels like messing around with clay or something. Like it's just kind of, there's a soothing quality to it. Sorry. So I have no particular plan here. I did, the other day, just for kicks, I tried to do like some version of the channel logo, basically. I don't think it worked out super well. We could try that again, or we could just mess around with some other stuff. But yeah, let's just get like a glob together here. So let's just add some other shapes. I don't think I've messed around. Oh, okay. I don't think I've messed around with this one yet. So let's see. No, not that. There we go. Okay. Okay. I immediately want to smooth out that shape, but I'm going to let it sit for a little while. Let's just get a nice bunch together. Give it a shot. Cones are good. I'm learning that cones are pretty fun. Rotate this way. Cool. Yeah, let's just start mushing this together in some crazy nonsense. Flip. Okay, hey, we're getting somewhere already. Okay. Envious, well, I guess envy. Envy, ennui, and embarrassment. Okay. Yeah, so just to elaborate, I guess, a little bit on my eye rolling at the inclusion of anxiety. I guess I'm slightly I don't even know if concerned is the right word, but I do have a slight sense that, especially among the younger folk, it's quickly become a catch-all term and it's very real. I'm not trying to complain about, people trying to express this at all. That wouldn't make sense. Um, but I'm worried that it tends to get attached to individuals or to even generations in a way where it can feel almost like victim blaming to a certain degree, like, oh, these people are just more sensitive naturally and that's their problem and it's something they need to work out. And while I don't think that Pixar would ever take that kind of approach to a topic like that, I do think I'm sort of already worried to hear the discourse surrounding this, especially from certain kinds of groups on the internet of a certain maybe political persuasion. I'm a little bit worried of how they would choose to discuss some of that stuff. Um, but yeah, in terms of Pixar's side of things and how they will discuss the topic, I have no doubt that they, even in the pre-production and writing process, were heavily consulting with various authorities and experts, psych folks in particular, and I don't know. I'm sure they already got some good perspectives on the topic, and that they will approach it very well. I don't even need to check who's on the writing team for this one to confirm that. Like it's just kind of a guarantee with Pixar at this point that they tend to have a very um, safe. That could be a positive or a negative skew, I guess, but they tend to have a very safe approach to heavier topics, and I think they tend to handle them in very responsible ways. Um, Actually, this is, I mean, I don't know how interesting it would be to talk about, but it was an idea I had a million years ago for a video called, I wanted the title to be San Francisco Fixes the World. And that could maybe be updated to just be California Fixes the World. And it's sort of tongue in cheek, but basically it was trying to get to the fact that some particular, I don't know what, media groups in filmmaking, and video games, and also potentially writing, groups that have a really wide impact in terms of their audience and influence, would try to and continue to try to create work that's attempting very hard to be like genuinely helpful and really wholesome, but also still impactful. They're trying to have incredibly positive messaging and incredibly up-to-date messaging about big topics like, yeah, anxiety, we could say, or, non-traditional family structure, LGBTQ representation, etc., maybe even autism spectrum representation in contemporary media as well. And I think in general, doing a better job of that stuff than what would otherwise be considered sort of mainstream Hollywood groups. We know what happened when Disney tried very hard all of a sudden to be more representative and more diverse in terms of representation across a lot of their properties. And similarly, when just, random Hollywood studio tries to include more of that stuff, it tends to not go very well. But in the hands of Disney Animation or Pixar, and specifically on the video games front, the studio I was thinking of is Double Fine, where, again, it seems like they're incredibly aware of their level of impact, maybe overestimating it in certain instances. And I don't know, they seem hyper conscious about that impact and about the kinds of things they should be talking about with the work. So overall, I find it successful, mostly successful and kind of admirable, those types of attempts. At the same time, it can feel overbearing, I think, on occasion, and maybe even a little bit annoying. Obviously, never made that video. I don't know if it would really be worth it. I don't know if I would, have too much else to say on the topic. but very consistent. And yeah, groups either associated specifically with San Francisco or just California as a whole. Um, I don't know, a particular vibe that I don't see elsewhere, really. That's kind of fun. Okay, we can get rid of that then. Where's my smooth? Bigger smooth. Taking a while. But yeah, what else has been going on? Has anybody been watching anything recently that's really good or not good? Playing anything recently that's worth chatting about? Any other hot news items that we need to get into? Also, Wetness, I would be interested to hear if you have any almost literally last minute predictions for the Scott Pilgrim show. I would love to hear them. I don't if there are any legitimate leaks or spoilers, I don't want to hear any of that. But if you have ideas of how things might shape out or might shape out, how things might work out for that one, go for it. I would love to entertain any and all theories there. And no, this does not look like what you think. Yeah, we need to do some sort of macro level tweaks, I think. So let's switch to like move. See what we can do with this. Even larger. Button says, as an autistic person, I connected myself with characters who aren't autistic canonical, sorry, but have traits that actual autistic characters, because most canonical ones seem try-hardy. Is that a word? I mean, it works. It works. If I understand what you mean, then it's a word. But yes, I totally understand that. I agree with that. Not personally, I'm not on the autism spectrum, so I can't comment on that level. But I have heard that in other areas too, of like, you know, characters in popular sci-fi series, whatever it happens to be, that just, yeah, like you said, they share certain traits that people would identify with at that level. But that's about, you know, like they don't need to be canonically autistic. It's not a necessary component of facilitating connections with those characters. I totally get that. So that said, I did see a news item here. I mean, it's not on the screen anymore, but yeah, here I'll just read it off real quick. PBS Kids reveals Carl the Collector, its first show featuring a cast of characters on the autism spectrum. So I guess that says it all, but I just want your take on that. Like, is that like annoying? I mean, it seems aimed at a younger audience for one thing, so like, you know. But just in your opinion, if you were a bit younger, if this was really aimed at you, would that work? Would it feel annoying and weird? That would it feel try-hardy? Use that word again, you know? Or would it click? Because I actually think that's an important point in discussions of representation more generally, is when it's so on the nose, it could potentially, you know, detract from the ultimate goal. And that doesn't make sense, right? Not worth it. Alan, welcome back. Good to see you here. Alan says, I finally checked out the 2 Spider-Verse movies. Most insane animation I've ever seen. Maybe also, hi, lol. No, hi. Thank you so much for being here. I'm always excited to see people coming back around. But yeah, I mean, we could chat about those movies for all of time, probably. No, I still haven't seen the second one, actually, which is embarrassing to say. My any credibility I still had has just disappeared. But I will see the second one, I promise. But my gosh, yeah, I I don't want to repeat too much what everyone else has said about this, but it is a very genuine um, achievement. It's a technical achievement, but it's the best kind of technical achievement for filmmaking where it actually has an impact on just any member of the audience, right? Because I think there's plenty of stuff we could point to where on a technical level it was an advancement, like it was a step forward for effects or animation or CG generally, something like that. Um, but it doesn't always necessarily manifest in a way where the average person going to see the movie actually feels it. It's only something that matters really to the film geeks or to other people in the industry, you know. And that's not the case at all for the Spider-Verse movies. It's something where it's both an incredible technical achievement that took a huge amount of work to even execute, but at the same time, you get it. Like all of that impact is on the screen. And I also wanted to ask if I'm assuming not because it was recently, but did you watch them in the theaters or just on streaming? Because I also felt there was a big difference between watching that first Spider-Verse movie in the theater versus watching it at home on my TV. Um, I almost felt like it was too much in the movie theater. Like it was almost too much visual information to take in. I was also sitting pretty close, but like certain scenes were incredibly busy, not in a bad way, but it if there was a negative thing, it was balanced out by the sense that, oh, I just haven't seen something like this before. It was genuinely new, so that was really exciting at the time, especially. Um, in terms of just plain crazy animation, it's not in the same style or maybe on the same. It's not of the same flavor, but I also really think that a lot of animation from Studio Trigger is kind of in the same vein in terms of maximalist animation. So they're an anime studio, so they did Kill la Kill and the Cyberpunk anime and a bunch of others. Um, but anyway, if you haven't checked that stuff out previously, you might be into it if you're really on the Spider Verse kick. But again, obviously a different style and execution, you know. Wetness says, I don't have any, but I do hope we will hear voice cameos from Edgar Wright and Brian Lee O'Malley themselves. Oh, I hope so. I mean, it would be an easy thing to implement, right? And they really can just be cameos. This is just, I don't have a plan for this, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I'm just kind of having fun here with the sculpting, but I will promise I'll make it look like at some point. Kind of crazy how quickly it starts to look like organic forms, you know? Like musculature. Not the word. Or something like that. Or geological formations. We'll do something with it. Need to decide what's the top. Where are we focusing our attention? Start to lose some of its character now. I'm probably going too far. No. I just spin it. This is just looking like a Pokemon or something. Gen 1. Inspiration escapes me. Oh. Okay, hang on. Kind of having an idea. I mean, this will be a monster, but maybe we can... where's my flatten? Here we go. Large flatten, please. Sorry, let me get caught up here. Yes, I would like the cameos, and Brian Lee O'Malley. It's an easy cameo too because probably most people probably wouldn't recognize his voice except for big fans or something like that. But that'd be neat. And Edgar Wright, yeah, because he's still involved, and because he just kind of seems like a fun guy. Why not, right? Why not let him hop in? Okay. Let's see here. What it says, I mean, bug collecting is a common special interest, even Pokemon, based on it, since the creator of the games is autistic and grew up in 70s Japan collecting bugs. Oh, okay. Okay. Pokemon based on bug collecting. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. Here, I'll show you the easiest trick in the book. Something I've done quite a bit with some of my artwork as well. Is all you need to do. Uh-oh, where's the other one? Oh, it's way over there. Uh-oh. All you need to do is give something eyes. And then you're good to go. No, I want you guys to both move together. How do I do that? I think I have to pair them here. Is that how we do it? Instance? Let's see. Nope. No. Maybe here. Nah. Oh, am I gonna scrap this whole thing? I might scrap. Ignore this. No, we're not even gonna. We can do abstract stuff later. Let's start off with something a little bit simple, a little bit nice. So let's. Good enough for me. Sorry. Get the music up again. Yep. Alan asks, "Did you watch the trailer for Chicken Run?" I'm very excited for it. It's one of my favorite childhood movies I remember. Same, for one thing. I am a big fan of Chicken Run, and also just like a lot of the Aardman animation stuff. Wallace and Gromit was a big one for me growing up, and that was before we even had the movie, of course. So it was really just the shorts. Like I think we had a VHS cassette with the first three shorts. I think they are, and that was fantastic. That was so much fun. And there's just something, I don't know. There's something really particular and satisfying about their approach to character design, but also like gadgetry, of course. That's such a big part of the Aardman look for me, and that tends to be, a lot of their movies are infused with that. But yeah, of course, Chicken Run specifically was such a great time. So yeah, big fan there. And beyond that, oh yeah, duh. The eyes aren't lined up. We'll just move the head. Of course. But no, I don't think I've watched the trailer yet. I will be seeing the movie, of course, when it releases. It seems like it's just getting a theatrical release, right? A pretty standard theatrical release initially. And then they would maybe, well, guaranteed they would then do their streaming version. But yeah, I would love to hear your take on the trailer. I don't know if I could. I mean, I could watch it off screen, I guess, while we're on the stream. But I don't know how exciting that would be. And new voices, right? I saw specifically an article on Cartoon Brew was saying that, it's a new voice for, oh my gosh, did I forget his name too? Mel Gibson is not returning. If it was Mel Gibson. He's not coming back around. Kind of makes sense. And then I'm not sure how much of the original cast in terms of the chickens themselves are returning as well. I think a good number based on one of the initial articles I saw about it. But yeah, very excited to see that when it actually releases. I think, and it's December, right? As far as I know, more or less a holiday movie. Um, but yeah, should be very cool. Very interested to see that. No, no, there they are. We lost them inside the other eyeballs. Now we're getting so. What is it, cat? What is it? What? You want to hang out or something? And no, you can't mess with the iPad. Don't want them to look like cross-eyed. No, that kind of rotation isn't helping us out. No. Okay, that's fine. Fine. How well are those nested? Not at all yet. That? Just blocking stuff in. None of this is final. But I just want to have some sense of character here. Okay. Yeah, let me get caught up here. Sorry, you guys have been good with the comments, so I should catch up. Okay. Alan says I watched both on streaming. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, the other one's been out of theaters for a good while now, I think, right? So that makes sense. But still great. Yeah, still a great experience. You know, still very exciting, I think. And maybe just a little bit easier to digest as well on a smaller screen. Wetness says, like for me, I really like Luffy and Frankie from One Piece and Senku from Dr. Stone. They aren't autistic, but as someone on the spectrum, I like to believe they are. Yeah, and that really can be enough. I don't know if I could accurately call it a trend where people seem incredibly interested online, especially, of getting explicit confirmation that a character is whatever they want that character to be. If they really want that character to be autistic, if they really want to know that character is trans or LGBTQ, etc., then I don't know. I've never had that specific desire. I've never I don't know. That just hasn't been a part of me watching the shows. Especially as a kid, there were times where I wanted to know I don't know how a character ended up, for example, at the end of a show. Like that was interesting to me. Or just in general, I wanted the characters to do certain things, but I never quite got to the level of feeling like I need to know every detail about who they are as a person, where they came from. I didn't need to fill in all of the lore stuff, and I'm not trying to criticize people who do. It's it's just a different desire. It's a different impulse. I just don't quite get it. I just don't quite understand that perspective. So maybe at some point I could get a good explanation of where people are coming from there. But we'll see. I don't know. I haven't felt that, and it sounds like it hasn't really been a thing for you either. Wetness. This my no. This is the size over here. Some kind of mouth on this fella. Straight line, slight smile. I don't know about the smile, but we'll give it a shot. Okay. This way and uh-oh. Not correct. Oh, that's what we wanted to do. Back that up. Still getting to know this stuff. It's not good, but I do like it. Yeah, that'll do for now. Thank you. I watched one tutorial and I was like, yeah, now I know. Now I know how to do all this stuff. Sorry, I still didn't get caught up. All right, let's see. Yes, Alan says I think in the Spanish from Latin America, they got the same cast from 20 years ago. Amazing. Oh, for you're saying the Spanish cast for Chicken Run? That's really cool. Okay. Everybody across the board. I mean, I guess it's not a, it's not an enormous cast, but still. Yeah, that's impressive. It's impressive to get everybody signed on, and there's always that risk of you see it a lot with like reunion shows and stuff like that, but there's always the risk that somebody involved is going to be like, please give me more money because I know you can't do this without me, right? Not working. Why is this not? Do I have the wrong one selected? Head 1 versus head. Uh-oh, when did I make 2? Nope. Nope. This was going so well yesterday. It was great. Did I not validate this? Didn't validate. Okay. Good. The mesh is fully masked. No, I cleared the mesh. Are you good now? Are you okay? It keeps going back, and I don't know why. Clear. Clear. Ah. Why? Why? Okay. Last resort. No, 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 no. Stop. Stop all of this. I want the head. Yes. Cat, your tail is a little bit in the way. How about that? Now will you work? All right. Okay. Fine. That's strange. Yes, for Chicken Run, they got basically all the same voices back. Yeah, that's pretty wild. But it really can't be understated either, right? Just the importance of having your voices back. I don't know. That's such a big part of it. Okay, I said clear. Still no. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, then we're not. Then the mouth is gonna continue to look jagged and crazy. All right, we're just gonna deal with it. Fine. Start you out with a sphere. Oh, I down here. Scale up. Actually, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Here's an idea. I know we've been going for a while, but if you guys are willing to stick around for a little bit longer, here is my idea. Not a new one, it's not entirely original, but let me know if it sounds like it would be fun. We're talking about the Pokemon stuff. I almost accidentally made muck earlier. Should we try to do one of those Pokemon from memory things? So if you give me one, I won't look at any references, and then I'll try to very quickly recreate it here with the most basic shapes possible. You think it's doable? Feel free to give me a high sign if you think that is worth trying out. And maybe even for like a subsequent stream or something, that would be kind of fun. But one of the things I've found just messing around with this, and obviously still just for fun, I'm very much a beginner with it, but it's actually a really good way, at least for me, to understand and kind of mannequinize various objects and characters and stuff. which is a pretty big part of just drawing things in general. And it's not a skill I've really had in the past. I'm just not especially good at that. But I am getting better. And for some reason, only having the option to use a relatively small number of really basic geometric shapes in this program, and building characters out of those shapes has been helpful for me to understand those concepts and to hopefully get a little bit better at them. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think that mimicking a Pokemon could be kind of fun. But yeah, it would probably have to be Gen 1 or Gen 2 because I really did not keep up with it after that. Cat, your tail is a little bit. I know you're happy to be here, but it's a little bit in the way. What else can we use here? Don't want to box. I just want to move the phone or somewhere. Validate that. Around. Or this way. Ah. What do you think? Think it's good? If you have pets, specifically cats, you may already know that they actually respond to imagery on a tablet. Usually not TV stuff. They won't, they see something on the TV and they're like, okay, there it is. But with this, even right now, like this is not, we're not mimicking anything about hunting prey. This is not the natural world. But the cat is very interested, maybe even just in the cursor. Is that what it is? You see the little cursor going around? Like a laser pointer or something? What is this? Gonna stick with it though. Excuse me. Now if I clone it, do I need to validate it? I think so. You can stick this fella with a few more of these. Where's the other one? One. No, I just want to move it. Okay. Yeah, the UI is, showing 3D stuff in a 2D space. It's always going to be a little tricky. Here we go. Third guy. Now I want to combine all these shapes and just mess with it for a while. Yeah. There's nothing there, cat. It's not real. Yeah. Not like a real thing. And hopefully it's all moves together. Yes. Perfect. Oh, beautiful. Okay. All right. Bigger impact here. All right. I think we could also consider this an original Pokemon design. It's kind of reminding me of like a Christmas tree ornament, like an angel ornament. I don't know if you guys practiced, or if you were an angel family or a star family. We were definitely, probably still are, an angel. That's what we have back at home. What else do we want? Inflate is kind of crazy. Be a bit much. That was better there. See, this is it's a lot. Ooh. That's an interesting effect. Not what I was going for at all. But yeah, more organic shapes. There's his wonderful head. We need to add more to the head as well, I think. So let's do this. Clone, I just want to add a sphere here. Large. Yes, beautiful. Okay. There's nothing there, cat. Promise you. I would tell you if there was like an insect or a small rodent on the screen. Okay. All right about that. Okay, Chicken Run by the end of the year. Are there any other big, like, heavy hitter animated movies that we need to worry about for the rest of this year? I feel like not. At least not to my knowledge. Well, obviously, I mean, it's technically already released, but we will have the U.S. release of the Boy and the Heron? Is that what it's called? The new Miyazaki movie. We have that. That is a big deal. But I think just the fact that it's already made the festival rounds and that it is such, at least within the world of animation, it's Oscar baity. I do think that we will continue to hear about that movie for quite a while. I'm also very interested to see how the, I guess, like YouTube media crit community decides to respond to that movie. Because this is something that I don't know if I should call it a pet peeve or not exactly. And maybe some people would consider it not a fair point of criticism or something. But I have started to get slightly annoyed by... mess that up. I have started to get a little bit annoyed by just the sheer number of videos and video essays specifically that are just dead set on continuing to talk about the same 4 or 5 Miyazaki directed Ghibli movies for all of time, I guess. Like, this is just, it's not all they talk about, but there will never be a shortage of new videos talking about, what is it? Spirited Away, obviously. Ponyo, I don't see getting talked about very much. Kiki's Delivery Service, absolutely. That has come back around big time. Whisper of the Heart gets talked about plenty. And I guess Totoro, but just again and again and again and again. And it's one of those things where, of course, it's great. Like, of course, they are very, very, very good movies, and they're certainly worthy of praise. But it's been a long time. I guess just for me personally, it's been a very long time since we, first saw those movies, either as kids or on, the official theatrical releases. It's been a very long time since they were released on home video in the US. And it's also been a long time, for me at least, since we kind of had our Ghibli breakthrough, our realization of how great those movies are. And I don't know, it started to get to me just a little bit. Spirited Away discourse in particular is just never ending. And given the fact that some of the reviews I've seen for Boy and the Heron are drawing similarities to Spirited Away, I am concerned that that's just going to be the new one that gets slotted in. And there are going to be people with their, potentially hot takes of, you know what, this is better. This is better than it's better than XYZ. It's better than the Ghibli stuff we've seen before. Um, and then the inevitable responses to that of people like, no way, you can never beat my favorite Ghibli movie. So I feel tired of it already, despite the fact that we haven't actually gotten the movie yet here in the US. Um, so I don't know. It's a cynical take for sure, but that's just been my feeling on the movie prior to release so far. But yeah, we will see. That's certainly another big one for the year that we have to still kind of be aware of. I guess that's the way to put it. Um, but yeah, Chicken Run, Boy and the Heron. At least in terms of what's coming to mind right now, I feel like that's just about it. This I wanted to do some like eyelids. Recolor, just so we can actually see them. But yeah, this is the ultimate trick. Just put eyes on anything. It works. Doesn't make it good, but it does immediately aid your ability to respond to a design and to potentially connect with it. I don't feel that I've found a good shape or any kind of design with the body. I guess just as a last ditch effort here, could add a sphere, blow it up, try to have it envelop a lot of this, smooth it out somewhere. Yeah, and in fact, I'll combine this, I think, with our horrible amalgamation body parts in the middle there. Just put your tail right over here. That's fine. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm certainly not going to be able to actually make this good by the end of the stream. I don't think it's going to happen. It just has it's I don't know. Seems like it's how it tends to work when I actually start streaming something, whether it's drawing or trying to do some sort of animation, or now this. I feel very comfortable with it, just off the air, so to speak. Not a big deal at all to do it on my own, and I usually end up finding fun ideas that I really like. But as soon as I'm on the stream, it's junk. What is this? Why did I go with this idea? What is the so? I don't know. I'll continue to work on it, and I'll also give you a brief tour of some of the other stuff I've been messing around with in this program lately. But there is some kind of potential here. I will find later, but not right now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll hang out for a few more minutes if there's anything else anybody wants to chat about real quick. Any comments or recommendations to share? Feel free. Wow, this has quickly become one of my longer streams. I really wasn't planning on that. But as soon as you get into the modeling stuff, it is pretty kind of addictive. And you really just get sucked into it. Okay, here we go. Here's a bear. I was working on this bear the other day. Off a very old drawing I did just for kicks back when I didn't really draw or anything. But I kind of like the design. It's obviously very simple, so I thought it would be doable in a modeling program like this one. The coloring still needs work too. I would like it to just be like monochromatic blue guy, and I made a mistake here with coloring too early, so you can see where the color blends down here with the legs. It's kind of awkward. It looks like I don't know, airbrush or something like that. But we'll see. I kind of like him, and I kind of feel like he's well enough finished. You know what I mean? I kind of like the design as it is. This is a fella I was designing who I decided to call Jerk in a Box. I was trying to get a Harry Potter background from the Boggart scene. I didn't quite find it. But here he is. And this was definitely a case where I just had some globs I threw together. And I was like, you know what? That actually almost looks like a human shape. We can use these for a human sort of shape, human adjacent shape. And I really like getting to do a little chipped tooth here. I thought that was kind of fun. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I think that's kind of fun. And also the idea of just having, you know, black and white grayscale character, I think is a fun idea. But yeah, we have this guy. No, I don't want to save any changes. Is that pretty much everything? Trying to do a dog. Trying to do a simplified version of a family dog. And this was the progress I made in about 20 minutes the other day. Way too lumpy. He needs smoothing out, especially like down here. Maybe that now. But again, I think it's kind of a fun way to try to understand anatomy better and get a sense for organic shapes, how they can be broken down into more basic geometries. But we'll see. I would kind of like to do this, even if it's just for like a 3D printing kind of thing. I think it would be kind of cute to have a little simplified model of this guy. Need to tweak the proportions too. I don't want it to look super realistic. So that's something else we can do. But anyway, yeah, this in comparison, I've no idea. No idea. I don't know what the plan was there. But whatever. All right, I'll probably leave it there. But thank you so much to anybody who bothered to watch who was able to come out for the stream live. Appreciate that very much. Especially you folks there in the chat. Great. What keeps me doing it. And anybody watching the archive version of the stream later on. That's a great help too. It's a great help for the channel. And I know I say this just about every week, but I do really promise I have another video on the way. And it's actually pretty close to being done. Kind of a short thing, just something I really wanted to get out there while the topic is still relatively fresh in everyone's minds, I guess. But yeah, so hopefully soon, hopefully within the next few days, I could get that out. But in the meantime, these streams are yeah, kind of the bread and butter, for better or worse, of the channel right now. And the fact that anybody still watches them and watches them for any length of time, it keeps us in YouTube sites. YouTube is able to say, yes, you still exist, and we will still recommend your stuff to a handful of people. So yeah, thank you for keeping that going. Big help. But yeah, that's just about it for today. One more big thank you to everybody, and yeah, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.